Wars often bring nations together for a while. Israel was united in horror after the October the 7th attacks. Government and even opposition politicians came together to support an operation against Hamas. But 8 months on and the government looks close to collapse. At issue is a deal for a 6-week ceasefire presented by Joe Biden. No sooner had the plan been presented than the far-right ministers in Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet threatened to quit. So what hope is there for a peace deal now? Ehud Olmert is the former Prime Minister of Israel and is with us. Good morning to you, Ehud.
Good morning.
How captured by the right of his cabinet is Netanyahu? Does he have to make decisions that keep them on board, or could he take different decisions? Would he want to take different decisions?
I don't think he can take different positions, and I'm not certain that he wants to take a different position. Netanyahu is completely, I think, tied up to his messianic partners, because on a broader basis, he believes that there is no way that he can keep his government alive without the support of these factions. And he seems to be prepared to do anything that he can in order to protect his government, even at the expense of selling out what appears to most of the Israelis as the national interest of Israel. You know, I was asked several times, I guess you're curious, I mean, what is the reaction to the dramatic speech made by President Biden on Friday evening? The Biden said that what he said is actually the Israeli proposal, that this plan was presented by Israel to him. So the real question is not whether we support the Biden plan, but whether Israel supports the Israeli plan, whether Netanyahu supports the plan that he submitted to Biden. And I'm afraid that the answer is no. Netanyahu does not support the plan that he gave to Biden, because it appears to him that this plan is not supported by the partners of his government. And I think Netanyahu thought at the beginning that that the Hamas will reject it. So he took the risk of hiding his name to the plan on the basis that perhaps the Hamas will reject it and then he will somehow get away. But Hamas did not reject it. Hamas said that it sounds positive and it sounds reasonable for further negotiations. So now it's Netanyahu's turn to reject his own plan.
He's rejecting his own plan. It's an extraordinary situation, Ehud Olmert. So basically, he submitted it to Biden without checking his own right wing. Biden's come back and said, yes, let's go for this. And then his right wing has objected to it. Would he really be willing to cling to power? He's so keen to cling to power that he would let a peace deal that might bring some hostages back, let it go, simply to cling on for another couple of months. Is that really possible, do you think?
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. It's already happened throughout these last 7-8 months. He unfortunately screwed up several times what then appeared to may have been a plan, if not for a comprehensive peace or a dramatic new direction of peace negotiations between us and the Palestinians, but which could have saved more hostages. At this time, really, what we need is to bring back the hostages. There are 124, I think, now. We found another corpse, unfortunately, this morning, someone who was considered to be a hostage. He was actually buried in the kibbutz where he lived. So we have 124, presumably, hostages now. We need to bring them back. There is nothing more important, there is nothing more urgent, there is nothing more sensitive, obviously, than to bring them back. Netanyahu says that what we need is to have an absolute victory, which is nonsense. This is a slogan. There is nothing behind it. We have defeated Hamas to the extent that you can defeat a terrorist organization. Mm-hmm. We have destroyed most of the bunkers and the tunnels and the launchers and the rockets, and we killed more than 12,000 of the fighters. I mean, how much more can we do without paying a terrible price that can cost the lives of the hostages, and it can cost the lives of many more Israeli soldiers, and it costs the lives of many more innocent, non-involved Palestinians that live in Rafah and were forced to go to Rafah from the north part of Gaza by us. So the time has come for a complete cessation of hostilities on both sides and for an agreement that will bring back the Israeli hostages. Netanyahu knows that in such an event, there will be immediately the public reaction for all the failures accumulated over the last 8 months, which he is personally, directly responsible for. And it will be the end of his service as prime minister. So he's perhaps ready to do everything possible in order to delay it to the maximum possible.
Yeah. What an extraordinary situation that is. Ehud, really clearly put. Thank you for joining us. That's Ehud Olmert there, the former Prime Minister of Israel. The extraordinary situation where Netanyahu needs the war to continue in order to postpone the reckoning of all the mistakes he's made that has led to the war and to some of the hostages not coming back. And so at the minute, it seems like the deal is one he would like to do, most Israelis would like to do, but he can't afford to let it happen, so he's not going to do it.
Thousands of people expressed their support for Israel Sunday in New York, while thousands of others backed the Palestinians from Karachi. In Israel, an aide to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed on Sunday that it had accepted a framework deal for winding down the Gaza war now being advanced by U.S. President Joe Biden. In an interview with Britain's Sunday Times, Netanyahu's chief foreign policy advisor Ophir Falk said Biden's proposal was a deal we agreed to. It's not a good deal, but we dearly want the hostages released, all of them. Biden said the first phase entails a truce and the return of some hostages held by Hamas, after which the sides would negotiate on an open-ended cessation of hostilities for a second phase, in which remaining live captives would go free.
במקביל לפעולה הצבאית החשובה הזאת,
Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant said on Sunday that Israel would not accept Hamas continuing to rule Gaza at any stage during the process to wind down the war, and that it was examining alternatives to the Islamist group. Hamas has provisionally welcomed the Biden initiative, though a senior official from the group, Sami Abu Zuri, said on Sunday that Hamas is too big to be bypassed or sidelined by Netanyahu or Biden. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby told ABC News Sunday that if Hamas agrees to the deal to end the Gaza war, the U.S. expects Israel to also accept the plan. The war began October 7th when Hamas fighters stormed across the border fence into Israel, killing 1,200 people and taking more than 250 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. In the ensuing Israeli assault that has laid waste to much of the impoverished and besieged coastal enclave, more than 36,000 Palestinians have been killed, Gaza medical officials say. Israel says 290 of its troops have died in the fighting.